Hello. Welcome. Happy Friday, beautiful souls. Namaste. Well, we're back for another one. Yes. Back to the Marielle Tarot. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sadhana. I'm a tarot reader, teacher, and some time ago, approximately 2 years ago, I did a deep dive on the Marielle Tarot. It's linked down below. And I've been prompted since then to go back to some of the cards, some of the things I said I was going to do that never circled around back to during that series. So this is why I'm revisiting this. Also by your request last week, there seemed to be some further inquiry. So here we are again, Marielle Tarot. Today we're going to look at the horses, and I use that in quotation marks. Yeah, because this is bigger than me. This is bigger than me, and this I'm guiding this conversation, okay? I am no expert here, and I just really want to, and I'm going to share with you, of course, through my own perspective and my own take on this deck. And you should know that this deck has been very moving for me personally. There have been some really powerful readings, past life readings, connections to just so many things. So I'm happy to share this with you, and I feel like I'm definitely no expert here. Okay, so you're welcome to walk with me for this conversation, and I appreciate your support. Thank you, Donna, for your words. Appreciate it. Hello, Clevis, Saskia, Sharon, namaste. Donna D. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start with the Five of Cups. And if you have your Landscapes of the Abyss, you can follow along. Hello, Karen. Welcome. All right, so let's go in even closer to the scene here. My version of Landscapes of the Abyss. Now, are there different versions of this? I don't know. Just in case I use a page number, I'm going to tell you what mine is. This one is 2012. Okay, so does it say first printing, second printing, anything like that? No, it doesn't. All right. 2012. So here we go. Our topic today is horses and understanding or discussing the meaning of horses, why they appear in the deck. I feel like it's a very different energy than the wildcats we were looking at last week. The wildcats are deeply connected to our fire. And I had another aha moment this morning writing about the Five of Wands in a challenge that I'm doing and looking at this aspect of Saturn Leo and the Five of Wands. And man, this is a never-ending rabbit hole. It really is. If you are just beginning your tarot journey, welcome to the madness. Welcome. Five of Cups. Marie writes, the horse is often a creature from the sea. The horse is often a creature from the sea in mythology, a symbol of beautiful earth with its incredibly fast and stable four legs and freedom of movement. It comes out of the surf like the shell in the Four of Cups, a treasure. And here it sits in the middle of the Garden of Eden. Eden. Interesting slip. Teaching, guarding, watching, protecting. I wonder how the unicorn here would do if a tiger strolled into the Garden of Eden. Yes. So let's not get too much into the detail of whether this is Chiron, whether this is Sleipnir, whether this is a unicorn. What is this horse doing here? And what is this horse, what do horses in general represent? I want to sort of keep coming back to this. If you want to look a little bit, I mean, there's so many connections in this tarot deck. The waters here that run through this card are described as the waters that we see dividing into 3 waterfalls in the 3 of Cups, which is if this is the source, there's a lot of information here. So think about what the horse is protecting. The horse is protecting the source of water. Why a horse? Why a unicorn? And we can think about the energy. The myth of Sleipnir, I will have to review that. Chiron, of course, was different than other centaurs in that he, use that pronoun carefully, educated, right? Educated, trained many of the gods. There's a power to these creatures that, and you know, I think it was Dee that said something about them being animals of prey. There's a similarity between the horses and the wildcats in that they are all connected to our drive. They're all connected to our strength, our movement forward. They provide an energy in the deck. And here, a white, possibly 8-legged creature covers the water, protects the water. Is this creature asking us to protect our heart, to protect our emotions, to perhaps treasure? And I think there's something really key here where she says, like the shell in the 4 of Cups, a treasure. Is the treasure the horse, or is the treasure the act of the protection? Now I'm losing my voice. This is really interesting. We'll see how this goes. The dichotomy of magical strength and vulnerability in this card strikes me. Yes, because this horse, this unicorn, could fall prey to one of those wildcats. We know that they are everywhere in this tarot deck. What is the different intention between the wildcats and the horse? I think that is something interesting to contemplate. Also notice here that the horse is in the central path. The horse is protecting, lots of Freudian slips here today. The horse is protecting that central channel. Have you ever thought about the tree of life and the tree of knowledge as the pillar of form and the pillar of force, or the Ida and the Pingala? If I asked you if the tree of knowledge was the masculine and the tree of life, the tree of knowledge, the tree of knowledge, I guess presumably the pear tree here. Oh my God, there's so many questions we can ask here. But what I want to say is the horse is protecting the middle channel. The horse is protecting the flow of life. The horse is protecting your energy. And I think this is fundamental to the understanding of this deck, because Marie uses these horses as a brilliant metaphor for this journey. So notice we have a unicorn here that is protecting, and yet the water continues to flow. So in a way, this unicorn it's like a guardian angel, a powerful guardian angel that sits over our vulnerability, that guards our openness, that perhaps guides our openness and says it's okay to flow. It's okay to let the waters run. We don't have to put our thumb in the dike. And for our health and our well-being, and I think the health connection, the healing connection with Chiron is important here. The healing and the flow of water. Now we're going to talk a lot about this tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm teaching my Swadhisthana class, Tarot through the chakras. Tomorrow is Swadhisthana. It's a week late. I had to cancel last week, and so I'm doing it tomorrow. So if you're interested, I'm going to talk about this a lot. 3 hours tomorrow. And if you think about the energy of water and what happens when it's contained, if you think about how everything is driven by our emotions. Our disease is driven by emotions. Our responses and our reactions are driven by emotions. For the most part, all of our choices in life are driven by water. And so there's this interesting conversation between the relationship between fire and water, fire being all those cats that we looked at last time, and all that is being unpacked here. This is no easy deck to interpret. But this white horse, so white horse and white in general representing consciousness, God, light, that which is formless. So here God sits on our water, on our well, intending healing, protection. And so the unicorn says, let the waters flow, I will protect you. And, it's so interesting. I mean, we're going to go into this because we're going to talk about the black horse and the white horse. And this association of white with purity, I guess that depends on how you define purity. Because if white is formless, then black is form. And this fits into concepts from all kinds of spiritual teachings, the black and white. Sometimes the colors vary a little and we have different energies. This is not just spirituality. This is philosophy. This is as old as the hills, right? We're going back 5,000 years. Some of these teachings are even older than that. So we start with this white horse. And I don't know, I just think this is an incredible card to sit with. What if you could pathwork this card and wander into the Garden of Eden? What would you see to the left? What would you see to the right? Hi, Perry. I'm really liking some of these comments. So Dee, I know you said earlier about water, and I'm sorry I ignored that, but I saw it. I just didn't respond to it. So perhaps this is one of the reasons why it drives us. There's this other really interesting piece in that when you look at the planetary energy, Moon including in one of the 7 classical planets, that is the closest to us. and how it affects us. It just all kind of makes sense. And then I look at this card and the strength of this horse. And I know at some point in the book she talks about Neptune and his horses and the way that they rode over water and the way they charged on the water. And I can just see this beautiful painting in my mind. This is the courage with which we need to navigate our water. And remember that if you're working with chakra energy, water is the element of the second chakra, not the fifth. So we're working with the dualities here of the two trees, of the two pillars, of the black, of the white, learning how to find that middle path. Smiling at D&D's comments. I also want to thank you personally, Dee, for your comment. I actually took that tea leaf deck and I've put it to the side. I'm going to box it up today. Okay, let's go to Perry's comment before we go on. Water carrying our vibrational frequencies and resonates in harmony with us and the environment. Yes, yes, yes. So we need to remember that every E-motion. So, and this is another piece that even for me, it's really hard to conceptualize, that emotions are simply energy in movement, energy in motion. So it is, our emotions are the way that energy moves through us as both a human and a spiritual being. Okay. So, the white horse. The white horse. Shall we contrast? Now, I don't have these cards out, but we have to talk about the chariot. The chariot. So in this particular deck, we don't have horses driving the chariot. We have dogs or wolves or something like that. This is what I want to say. This animal represents the same thing. The fact that it's a dog, it's a horse. And I love the way that she keeps referring to the Plato metaphor. And some of you, it might drive you mental, the way that this guidebook is so repetitive. But if you find this guidebook repetitive, then read it again. I mean, if you don't understand what Marie White is saying, read it again, because eventually you're going to get it. She repeats the same stories over and over and kind of cleverly weaves all of this together. Okay. The black horse and the white horse. Let's go back to this black and white thing. White, consciousness. White, God. White, Shiva. White, formless, unmanifest. Black, dark, night, feminine, lunar. White, solar. White, masculine. Sorry, I didn't put all these together in logical pairs. Form, black here, black material, that which we can touch. The underworld, the subconscious, the unconscious. And so we have this contrast of white and black, and this is This is if you don't get this, you don't get the tarot. This is pretty much all that the tarot is about. It's about reconciling this separation that we all experience between our God and our goddess consciousness. This is about having a really good look at our divine masculine self and our divine feminine self, and asking, how can we bring this together? I have had some incredible, so taking an hour every morning to write about tarot cards in this 78 Drop M Tarot Challenge that's going on Facebook right now has been really good for me, because it's allowed me to bring together a lot of thoughts that I don't have time for when I'm teaching tarot. And everything, honestly, is becoming clearer. One of the misconceptions, and I think a lot of people look very simply at the experience of Kundalini rising. If Kundalini rises, then we become enlightened. No, if Kundalini rises only, we become crazy. We become mental, and we end up in a sanatorium, or whatever the equivalent is these days. Kundalini must descend, and then we become enlightened. So the process of Kundalini rising, Kundalini awakening, is a long journey. We work to understanding the lessons of each of the chakras, healing the chakras. We just start by tapping at them. It's quite a journey. If and when you do have a small awakening, energy may rise. The frequency may rise in your physical body, and you might think you've had a Kundalini experience. Probably not. But if and when it does rise, there's this process of the divine feminine uniting with the divine masculine, and then together they descend through your crown chakra and settle back into your physical body. I think about the, what was he called? Like the guru of Swami Yogananda. His name was Sri Yukteswar. And if you've never read Autobiography of a Yogi, and you have the capacity to navigate through all of the Indian words, I strongly recommend reading it if you're interested in this stuff. Somebody like Sri Yukteswar was able to transcend time and space in this third dimension. This is what an enlightened being is, that they are able to offer and to hold and transcend your karmas for you, stuff like that. It's a long road. It's a long journey. And so part of this process, and I'll get you more cards in just a second, is this understanding of what these black and white horses represent. These black and white horses drive us, usually emotionally. And the process of the chariot is learning how to help them steer together. Because if one goes off, then the chariot is going to, I'm thinking of, bicycle metaphors, you know what it is to do an endo off your bicycle? Well, you're going to do an endo off your chariot. And that could be illness. That could be a car accident. That could be any number of things. And so we learn to journey through both our darkness and our lightness, step by step, little by little, baby steps along the way. And so this is the white horse. And it's interesting that the horses, we meet all the horses in the tens, which is kind of cool. Very cool. Where's the black horse? It's not really, well, again, you have to be a little liberal with your definitions of the animals here, because the black horse in the 10 of discs is the minotaur in the ace of discs that is freed from the labyrinth. So while you may be looking at a particular animal metaphorically, a lot of the animals are different beings at the same time. So why do the horses appear in the 10s? Why? Why do the horses appear in the 10s? And why do the horses, and I think all the horses fly in the 10s. They're all flying through the sky. They're all winged. They all have tremendous power. So it's not just the white horse that is flying, but the, oh, Mary Beth, I wish you were here. Oh my God. Mary Beth wrote the best quote, Toni Morrison. Maybe somebody knows what it is. Toni Morrison's song, something about you can't learn to fly until you let go of all your shit. Is it from a song? Oh my God, I laughed so hard when I read that. We were writing about the 5 of Wands today. So this is, in these 2 cards, a ascension of our power, an ascension of our drive. What we are seeing here, and this is an incredible card, is that we have learned to, because look at the fire, right? The fire, which can carry tremendously low frequency, is driven by our white horse. So this is a super high frequency of our fire, charging ahead. This is a card that says you can do this. You can experience this 3-dimensional world and navigate this 3-dimensional world and ride on and somehow marry all of this stuff that you are working through. I mean, this is such a powerful card. This is one of my favorite cards in the tarot. Yes, Sharon, there's a few different ways we can look at all of this. Okay, there's so many lenses through which we can do this. Okay, what is the song? Okay, it's not from a song. Okay, now the black horse. We don't have to use the word shit, but we can use the word earth, dirt, manifest, unconscious. The black horse is the horse that guides us into our darkness, into our samskaras, into our patterns, into our habits, compulsions, addictions. The black horse guides us through the painful journey of this place here and now. Marie White must acknowledge the black material horse because we are all incarnate here and now. Yes, we have chosen to walk this earthly plane and to experience all of this. And isn't that interesting that a white being rides the black horse, and an angel or a man perhaps rides the white horse? It's so what I'm seeing in these 10s is this almost, it's an inspiring integration of our completeness. And she calls all of the 10s the wheel of fire, the wheel of discs, the wheel of earth, the wheel of water. So this is the place where we reach a pinnacle of sorts, and then we let go, and then we flow back on through again. So the horses, as tens, guide us through death. Yes, black is yin, black is lunar, black is feminine, black is night, black is sub-unconscious, white is masculine, white is solar, white is conscious, white is God, white is unmanifest. So look at where we are right now in Scorpio season. This is a time of year, cosmically, that energetically, that invites us to go deeper, to look into the pond, to dive into the pond, to really sit with the ugliness. It's a highly transformational time of year. This is the only sign that has 3 sort of levels of ascension. If we can do the work of the darkness, we have the power to ascend to the eagle or the phoenix. It's brilliant how we can bring together these metaphors of these mythological references and astrology and yoga and all kinds of stuff in this crazy, beautiful, self-enlightening thing called the tarot. It is a fantastic, fantastic teacher. So think of the horses as our drivers, whether they show up in your card as sphinxes or dogs or whatever they are. Keep going back to the chariot metaphor and the idea that, all right, if I'm going to go forward, I need to check in with my right, and I need to check in with my left, and ask who's driving today. Who's driving? Are we driving together? Or are we going off in one particular direction because we have something to learn there? Aurora Starcy, namaste. It's powerful stuff. Now let's look at the other 10s. Let's go 10 of Swords. This is another great card. All right, so here, Marie White refers to the color of the horse here as bile, which I think is... So, do you know why that is such an important link? Bile. Where is bile made in the physical body? Anybody know? I don't know what Marie White's level of experience with chakra psychology is. Yes, there we go. Gallbladder. Gallbladder is part of the functioning, the system of the liver. And I find this fascinating that we have the bile horse in the 10 of Swords. Right. Okay. So, liver. If we live by the liver, if we live with the right side of the body, if we live with the pancreas, actually, it's stored in the gallbladder. Okay. Thank you for that, Aurora Starcy. Thank you. So pancreas is kind of more central in the body. And this is a very good point. When we look at the nature of the human body, it's not just rights and lefts. There are spaces in between. The pancreas kind of lies, can we say horizontally? Transverse. But the actual bile is stored in the gallbladder close to the liver on the right side of the body. In yoga psychology, we learn to not be controlled by this side of the body. And if I break this down really simply, the more that we learn to let go of, release, purify, cleanse the right side of the body, the more that we move into the left side and we come to this place of trust. Trust lives in the left side. Trust lives in letting go. Okay, so where am I going with this? Sorry, some of these, I told you, these rabbit holes are never ending. Death rides the bile horse. This and, there's another brilliant thing she says in the book. You might want to double check what I'm saying here. It's something to do with the scythe. And after the scythe, there is silence, which I really like. That also sits here beautifully. This is the ultimate death of the ego. So going back to what I was saying, liver, ego, right. Trust is left. So this is about slaying the need to always be in charge of everything. This is the card of slaying I have to know exactly where I'm going. I have to have everything planned out. If I, even for a moment, think I'm not in charge, I'm going to fall apart. This is the card of slaying all of that. Slaying the mind. So the mind is no longer in charge, and we come to this greater place of harmony. And we go forward. This is the death of the mind. The mind that controls us. Now, the other bit here, I'm not sure that I can speak to this today, is so as a filter, the liver, right side, bile, filters everything. It filters emotions. It filters food choices. It filters our reactions and actions. And at some point, it becomes so overtaxed that we must lie down. And this is a card where we choose to lie down and say, okay, I don't need you to show me again. I'm going to do my best here, and I'm going to try. I'm going to start with trying to trust. The silence bit is, let's shut up and stop talking so much. The greatest understandings, moments in life come when we are silent. And if you think about the suit of swords and how noisy it is, all those words, all that chatter, yada, 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 yada. So this is a card, and that's why I like that scythe analogy so much, is it cuts through all of that, and finally you get to be silent. Yeah. And then what phase of moon do we have in the distance? Okay, so this is about horses, not about moons. Yeah. So the process, but air signs aren't just about the mind. There's so much more to that. And oh my goodness, yeah. Okay. I need to decide where I'm going to go next because we have some cards I want to weave in here. I want to go back to the idea of white and black. And the thing is that the clarity of the mind is in the silence. And this is a very, very hard one. My mother, oh my God, I remember when I was really early in my yoga journey. And I was at a Ashtanga weekend with an incredibly spiritual teacher. I often wouldn't associate Ashtanga yoga with spirituality. But at the end of that first night, we were sent away and told not to talk until we were after the first break. And I was staying with my mother, who had never heard of a practice of silence. And what in the world would you want to have a practice of silence for? And I remember that night, because I felt badly because I hadn't visited with her for a while. And I turned to my childhood bedroom, and I looked in my childhood bedroom, and there, sitting on my bed, in full 3-dimensional view, was an angel. Full body, like full size of a human, maybe a smaller woman, like 5'3", 5'4". Black wings, white skin, long black hair, robes. It was most, and that's my point here, is that maybe if I had not been exhausting my physical body, chanting, meditating, working so hard on my project, and then turning to silence, perhaps that vision wouldn't have come through. Yeah. Thank you. All right. So now we have to switch colors, and it's 12:45. All right. So let's do this. So now we're looking at red. We should bring back our unicorn, because this all sort of fits together here, these horses. What did you do? Say, what is the rest of the story? When I saw my angel? What else is there to say? I saw an angel on my bed. So I smiled, and I thanked God, and I knew I was on the right path, and I just knew. I just knew. I knew everything was going to be okay. Yeah, there is no rest of the story. And I slept in that bed that night and went to yoga the next morning. Yes, I'm in British Columbia, so north of California, but same time zone. Yeah. Okay. Are you aware in this deck that in the twos, we have a metaphor for all of the organs? Hello, Annie. And in the twos, so we have and it's so brilliant. The two of swords is the lungs, and the two of wands is the spine. Anyway, this two is the heart, the chambers of the heart, or the this is the heart. And if we go back to what I was saying at the beginning about humans being driven by emotion, humans being driven by the heart, humans being driven by the water being the greatest element in the body, the being guided by the moon, which is the planet that is closest to the earth. It's mind-blowing. It really is. Okay, so here we have a heart, right? We have a heart. This is the 10 of Cups. And in the 2 of Cups, we have these two sides of the heart. So the white heart represents the... Okay, now am I going to get this? I'm going to get this. This is so interesting as red and white. It's so interesting as red and white. Wow. Okay, why is this confusing? Because red is also masculine and blue is feminine. But when we look at the heart in this way, we have, you see, this is very confusing. And I want to make sure that I'm not messing with Marie's intention here. Because the white horse in the 2 of Cups is the white horse in the 10 of Cups. It's the same horse, therefore it's consciousness. That means the red horse is the feminine horse. The red horse is the heart, which can be very confusing. Okay, this is the rose and the lily. The 2 horses are ripples in the water that arise from our thoughts, actions, and love. They go out and they come back. They are the sphinxes guarding the pyramids of the sun. Our connection to every other thing, our very existence in the water, affects every other part of the water. And care should be taken to know your horses. Okay, so this is a point she makes over and over again. Care should be taken to know your horses. Drive them with equilibrium and love. This is the connection between yourself and the rest of the world. So one of you mentioned the idea of the ripples. Every thought, every emotion, every action, every inaction has a ripple. And this is a card to remind us of the ripple effect. To be very mindful of how we respond. After a space is made, a fire lit in it, we are released on the world for good or ill. Just like everything else, the patterns repeat in all the worlds, in eternity, in the physical world, in our life, and inside our bodies. And so this is also a reminder that the anger that we spill, or the loving kindness that we share, also ripples back inward, not just outward. And I share this, I've shared this before. I had this brilliant aha moment. I was sitting close to here, and I raised my voice, and I had this visualization of my words, or part of my words, bouncing off the window in front of me and coming back and hitting me in the face, practically knocking me over. I was kind of in a bit of a daze. And then the ripple went back out through the window. It went across the street into the neighbor's house, and my neighbor was chopping meat on a cutting board in the kitchen. The ripple hit her. The knife flew out of her hand, landed on her foot. She screamed at her husband and blamed her husband for the knife falling out of her hand. And the story goes on and on and on. And it was the weirdest moment when this happened. And it was a really important, I don't raise my voice very often, but I know what an effect it has on the people around me. And this is just one of those moments in life where you just, it's like you see everything. And if nothing else in this Two of Cups card, I think we need to understand the power of all of this. And so as an organ of the heart, we're looking at the response of the expansions and the contractions, and how we need that to be equal and steady. And if your heart is not doing that, then your heart health isn't great, and your heart isn't going to last a long time. So there's something kind of this is, I don't know, like when I look at this card, I really feel a cautionary tale. Yes. Yes, I am. Yes, and when you have those openings, it's very, it really does. It really hits hard if you're paying attention to it all. Okay. All right, so let's tie in the Ten of Cups here with all of this, or at least try to. I know some people, when they look at this card, they don't even see a horse, but there's a red horse that is leaning forward. I know Tara. Tara. Yes, not personally, but yeah. There's a red horse powerfully driving this forward. And this is the heart. This is being driven by the heart. We have this poignant message about life in this card. And if I pare it all down, the essence of this card, it's about living life, feeling life, being fully present in life, whether it's birth, whether it's death, whether it's love, whether it's anger. It's about a presence in life. And if we let our heart drive our life in a mindful way, all will be well. All will be well. But it has to do with that whole, what is the black across the red horse? Does she say? I don't remember. Is it not the skirt? And I know that's bizarre. I think it's just the skirt that the adult skeleton is wearing. I think it's clothing. I don't remember that being significant. And if we look at so in this deck, the black holes are portals. Yes, the black holes are significant of the abyss, the passage through to, or the journey through to our awakening, to our deeper understanding. I'm not going to take the time to look it up right now, but yeah. But I was going to look at one of the quotes from the Ten of Cups that is kind of beautiful. And then I have one final thought that could probably take 2 hours to explain, but I'll try to do it in a minute. The red horse is the heart. His thundering hooves, the smooth beat of the turning wheel which pumps the blood, drawing in and pushing out the ancient bloodline. Oh yes, I forgot about this. This is important. Every one of us rides this horse in our short lives. As stewards of the royal blood, it passes through us to our children, and from them to their children. So yes, this is also a card, and maybe this is the whole memento mori thing. This is also a card of ultimately taking responsibility for our actions, because it's not just about us, right? We have, and also if depending on what your beliefs are, you also have the potential to heal great grandma's trauma as well too, if you move mindfully through life. Yeah. Love, joy, relationships, emotions, peace, interconnectedness, and their opposites, war, loss, grief, sadness, suffering, separation, are all part of the wheel of water that make up the whole spectrum of the experience of being alive. This horse metaphor is really powerful in this deck. And another thing she says in looking at the court cards, I believe this is in the description of the chariot. She talks about the power of the number 7, Ezekiel, and the fact that the chariot is driven by 4. So on each of the 4 corners of the chariot, there is a beast, there is a man, there's 4 things on each of the wheels of the chariot. And can I tie this into horses? Maybe not. Other than the balance of all of the elements, the balance of the rights and lefts, the balance of the blacks and the whites. If we're to move through this life and to continue the healing journey and to continue to move forward in a way that feels like, I don't know, like we're getting somewhere, we must pay attention. We must pay attention and mind those detours and do our best to get back on track. Yeah. Ride the energies of love and celebrate the joy of living with love. Thank you, Perry. Remember, you are a mortal being walking upon this earth. Remember to treasure this journey, to hold it near and dear to your heart, to understand its privilege, to understand that you made the choice to take this journey. I mean, just so many beautiful lessons here. And yeah, thank you for that, Aurora. I was going to get out my Stephen Farmer book and just read actually from that. The horse as your totem animal represents freedom above all else. The horse is a majestic animal that embodies the spiritual power of independence, freedom, nobleness, endurance, confidence, triumph, heroism, and competition. And so, yes, in a way, it does connect us to some of the things we shared last week about the wild cats. But there's something very noble here. Google search. Okay. There's something very noble here about this creature. And the horse, of course, the wildcats are you too, but the horse is, yeah, it's you. It's you, and it's what drives you. Okay. I'm going to leave you with that. There was a comment last week about the pearl. And could we look at all the cards with pearls? And it's interesting that while there's definitely two cards that have pearls in the artwork, there are pearls that are implied in a lot of the cards. So for example, the Four of Water, there's no pearl in that card, but the idea of the pearl is important to the understanding of that card. And there are a few other cards that I thought had a pearl in them, but they don't. So that's very interesting. She refers to the metaphor of the pearl many times in this book, but to the best of my knowledge, I could only find pearls on two cards. One of them is Strength, and the other is the Queen of Cups. Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to wish you a blessed weekend. And as always, if you have requests for Friday Tarot Chats, please let me know. And I will endeavor to prepare for that. Tomorrow, if you're interested, you can join me. 3-hour chat. Not so much chat, more teaching than chat. I should really have a banner. Maybe not. Okay, so my website is integrativehealingwithsadhana.com. And if you go to the shop, you can sign up for my class tomorrow. Here's my website. So I have rewritten the content for a course that I taught a couple of years now. It was called Tarot Through the Chakras, and I did Tarot Through the Chakras 1 and Tarot Through the Chakras 2. And I'm offering this as a combined course, and it will be available in perpetuity on YouTube, so you can pick it up at any time. But tomorrow, if you want to catch me live, I'm going to be talking about the sacral chakra. Okay? All right. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you all so much for your contributions to the conversation. It was brilliant. Okay. Bye for now. Take good care.